There we go. Recording is all working. All about me. I work on a home office project called the Cyber Resilience Centre Network, and I look after the Southeast. Southeast, in the terms of police, is Sussex, Surrey, Hampshire, Isle of Wight, Thames Valley, and Thames Valley is made up of Berkshire, Oxfordshire, and Buckinghamshire. Believe it or not, Kent is not in the southeast, according to the police. I know it couldn't be any more southeast if you tried, but they've joined up with Essex, Norfolk, Suffolk, and so forth. But ultimately, I'm here just going to talk to you today about cybersecurity, whether you're a charity owner or whether or not you're a private sector business or whether you're a public sector. Cybersecurity does hit us all, sadly. So statistics is I've always got to start off with a statistic screen. Sorry. What you're seeing there on the screen there is at the top, the micro, small, medium, large, and charities. Those are the percentage of businesses that have experienced some sort of cyber event or cyber incident in the last 12 months. So we can see there that the large businesses are experiencing the majority. Small businesses still, I think, do have a little bit of that syndrome of their head is in the sand because they think I'm a small business. What can they get out of me? But as we go through, you'll soon realise that a small business is actually a big target. You're less likely to have help from a large IT team because as a small business, I think you probably are the IT team, aren't you? You're definitely head of HR, head of finance, you're head of fleet, and then when you get home, you're head of catering as well, aren't you? You're always head of everything in a small business. More responsibilities. So after those incidents have occurred in the world of cyber, down the bottom you can see there that 18% of businesses realised that they only perform cyber drills. You could probably work that out yourselves. How many of you have actually done a cyber incident exercise? So always compare it to like natural examples in the real world. So when we're at school, we did fire drills, didn't we? Every Friday morning, we practiced how we could stand on the playground and work out fire evacuation. And then as we got older, we were probably trusted with a bit of first aid and we can practice CPR. That's the sort of stuff that is comparable. But how many of you have run a cyber exercise, a cyber drill in your own businesses? And it could be something as simple as you turn up to work tomorrow morning and none of the computers are working. How do you run your business without computers? If you're like a landscape gardener, you just start a petrol engine mower up, don't you? And you carry on. But you wouldn't know where you were going because you don't know where tomorrow's orders or tomorrow's addresses or invoices or finances. You can't send anything. So even what we'd say is like a hairdresser, which is a completely physical job, or a physiotherapist, orders come through those mobile phones, which are just small computers that fit in your pocket, aren't they? They can all catch viruses. They can all go wrong, sadly. So after we've had cyber incidents, you can see there 61% realised they needed to change the way they work, and 22% realised their plans, if they had plans in place, just were not fit for purpose. So the Home Office has created these cyber resilience centres. We do it in traditional conventional policing. If there's a house burglary or a shoplifting, we try and attend quickly and then prevent you from being a repeat victim of the same type. The same applies in the world of computers online. We don't want you to be a victim of fraud and cybercrime. We definitely don't want you to be the victim of the same thing twice. So we're here to help. So when we look through a traditional shop, I guess, a small business on the corner of every street, and I was gobsmacked at Matthew's stats there, not over 9,000 businesses in the New Forest, and I thought it was a forest. It's not, it's clearly busy, isn't it? So if we take your average baker, because we can all relate to that, someone that you would call a typical bakery or a business in the UK, they sell cakes, pastries, they meet and greet customers, and they're operating usually from like one geographical shop, one geographical location. They've probably purchased as a result of COVID and just the whole world's now grown up. They probably purchased a computer just to speed things up, help tracking inquiries, and generally make life a little bit easier. The bakery moves on. So now the baker has a website because customers kind of demand that now, don't they? They go onto Google, they look up everything. They want to be able to buy things online now. So there's probably a digital e-commerce platform on the website. So you can book things, you can click and collect, you can arrange delivery, you have emails. To advertise your cakes, you've now attached all those social media channels. So the LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X. customers come to the shop. You're not always gifted with mobile phone signals, so you then got to operate public Wi-Fi in shops. Your customers have convenience of using the internet. You then got iPads which take bills now, don't they? You don't run things through the till. You put it through point of sale terminals, contactless payment machines because we rarely use cash these days. So all these different things have now increased. The website is there. It needs maintenance. It is your electronic shop window. And effectively you buy and sell stuff online. You well, I put it to you, are you just a bakery now, or have you just inherited a cybersecurity business? It literally is traditional bakery, or are you a baker that can cook, but also now has to monitor all these different electronic devices, keep them safe, as well as spinning the plates of a small business? So the website, we talk about websites and the threats, but we spin through on the right hand side there, you see statistically some of the things that businesses phone up action fraud, talk about and complain about, and the fact they're a victim of fraud and cybercrime. 2024, the figures haven't really changed that much from last year. So the overwhelming threat vector is from phishing emails. There's still hundreds of thousands of phishing emails come through every day. Sadly, you're going to have to expect some. And knowing how to deal with them is probably in your own life at home, because you do have your own savings account, mortgage account, plenty of different Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Amazon, eBay. You've got loads of different accounts, a lot of impersonation going on, and a lot of people trying to basically get money out of you. That's what criminals want to do. They just want to get money out of you. So they will send you phishing emails, and that's the biggest attack vector at the moment. Some people then get into computers if they're not configured safely, and there's the term called hacking, where they will hack into your computers, take over devices, or just access data which they shouldn't have access to. Some people will then leave us virus, spyware, malware, which is all different types of virus. If they can get into the computer long enough, they will inflict something called ransomware, where they encrypt everything. You can't see anything. They would have taken a copy of everything before they encrypt it. And effectively, you might jump onto Google and say, how do I get access to my data back? I'm a victim of ransomware. Generally, the only people that can access your stuff after it's been encrypted are probably the people that have done it. If you have a backup in your shop or your office or your factory, the backup, if we took a backup yesterday and you got hit by ransomware today, you roll back to yesterday's uncontaminated or clean backup, and then you've missed everything that you've done today, but you've got a backup from yesterday. Some organized crime gangs or cyber criminals or just criminals will look to find out and establish what your backup policy is. So if you do one backup a day and you have the ability to do one backup for the last 31 days, they will look through all of your backups, and then when they contaminate or encrypt all of your backups, they then do your final one, which is the one you're working on today. Then that's bad news, because you are unlikely to recover from that. Not everybody has what's called offline backups. So that's where you put in an external hard drive in your computer, take a backup of all of your client data or customer data, and then you unplug it and you put that hard drive in like a fireproof safe and you leave it there. So it's a good practice to have having offline backups. And offline is it's not connected by wireless or Wi-Fi or wire to any other device. It is completely offline and separated from the internet. That is an offline backup, and that's probably the most safest thing you can do. Certainly, when you look at the pictures on the right, ransomware, it's not unusual that they would go after a small business. If you pick the bakery that probably only turns over like £1,000 a day, a threat actor takes out the bakery. It's unreasonable, isn't it, to say, I want £50,000 off of you to give your bakery data back, because the baker's never going to have it. That's unreasonable. The baker's only going to have details of probably all the people in the village, all the customers, and what bread and what cakes they buy. I mean, what value is that? The value is the brand to the baker. So it's their business, it's their website. Give me my website back, 200, £500. It's not unreasonable for threat actors to ask for that sort of money to give a baker their data back and their website back so they can continue trading. Certainly, we've seen examples of people will call what's DDoS. So it's called denial of service, where they will flood a computer with so much traffic or flood a website with so much traffic that it looks like it's offline, you'll get an email come through to you in your inquiries inbox at the same time saying, we found a weakness in your website. Please pay us some money and we will give you the key, the clue as to what the weakness is, and you can get your website back up and running. At the same time they're doing that, they're normally doing a DDoS attack on your website, which has a start time and an end time. But they would pull you into a false sense of security and effectively say, we found a weakness, we've taken your website offline, pay us some money to go away. All these are just different tactics which the criminals are using just to try and disrupt, be impactful on your business. And some people are scared when it comes to cyber, so they will often respond quite quickly with the demands, and then find out they paid some money and they're still nowhere better. So if things happen, have an instant response plan so you can follow through who you phone. So like Phil's introduced himself on the call today as the tech wizard, he may be your IT support. So rather than getting into some sort of narrative or communication with a threat actor, you speak to the IT person that looks after your devices, have an extra set of ears and eyes, look at the issue, and then they will go, I think you're under attack, or I think this is happening. Let's go back to basics. Let's look at the fundamentals and see what's happened before we respond to them. Or even you can phone the police. We are here to help, but quite often people phone their IT teams first. And I get that because it's all about getting you back up and running, isn't it? Getting your business back up trading, okay? I have rushed through quite a few slides, but if anyone just wants to shout, take themselves off mic, or put their digital hand up, or even a real one, I don't mind. But we'll go through a couple of things, but do shout at any time. So despite emails being the most popular method of starting a cyber incident, not many of us have had any sort of training since we've joined companies. So a quick straw poll, you can do it in the chat room or just shout out loud, but does anyone work for a company where maybe previously or currently they've had cyber training? Could be GDPR training or data protection training or just general cybersecurity training. It's interesting that the Information Commissioner's Office says that there should be training provided to employees within 1 month of them joining that organisation, or in any case, before you let them loose on company data. So you need to tell them how to treat your company data before you let them loose on it. And letting them loose on it is literally giving them the email account, letting them look at the client, patient, payroll, finance, invoicing, all that is your company data. So there needs to be some sort of training in place before you let them have access to that. And there should be an annual refresher program in place. So, I mean, those that have done GDPR training, when you probably remember, they talked about if it all goes wrong, there's an incident, there's a data breach, worst case scenario could get something like a 4% fine of your turnover. The worst case scenario is the prosecution and the fine and the enforcement. And then it goes down to a checklist, an aide memoir, words of advice, or you are a victim of crime, you did the best you can, but you're still a victim of crime. So when you deliver cybersecurity training to your staff, obviously make a record of it, keep it on your company journal, your audit, your risk register, because if you do become an incident or a victim of fraud and cyber, you can at least articulate and evidence that you have given staff training, you've taken due diligence, you've gone through all the right things to do to try and prevent yourself being a cyber incident. If you've done nothing, people would look on the organisation slightly differently because there is some due care that you should take place. So the stats are there realistically. They're quite large figures, but yeah, 18% of staff get any sort of training in cybersecurity, despite the fact 90% of all attacks start with a phishing email. So they're quite overwhelming there. So give it some concern or give it some consideration for some cybersecurity training to your staff. Certainly, actually going to cybersecurity training. I know when we all talk about training that you drag all the employees into the office and you say, right, you lot, you're going to do some mandatory training again. Normally they come to work with the wrong mindset. Oh my God, I'm going to be doing this boring training. I'm going to be doing data protection and privacy and all that malarkey. Sell it to them that effectively we're going to invest in you because we know you've got emails at home. We know you've got bank accounts. Cybersecurity is pretty important, whether you're at work or whether you're at home. You can easily open up phishing emails at home. So for the HR companies there, sell it like you're investing in your employees and you want to make them safer, because if they're happy, they're more productive, aren't they? And they're going to be better at work. This is what you see there is what you can access on the dark web. So these are the sort of prices that you can see that you can access. So let's put it into reality. Last week, was it 2 weeks ago, there was an incident, wasn't there, with Ticketmaster. They had a bit of a data breach. So a lot of Ticketmaster's accounts will probably be now on the dark web or the open web at some stage. So say, for instance, the data breach involves your email account, your password, maybe some password hints, maybe home address. All that data set would now be online in one data breach. And that could be the Ticketmaster data breach, for instance. I mean, last year you had, I think there was Uber, there was FIFA, there was British Airways. They've all had different data breaches. So say, for instance, the British Airways data breach had sort codes and account numbers. Uber had phone numbers. FIFA had home addresses. That's now 4 data breaches. You combine them all together, and that now becomes a combination list. So all of the data from 5 different data breaches now stacks up for the same person. You now know all their financial details, all their home address details, all their contact details, and their names, their passwords, and their password resets. So from 5 different data breaches, if you merge them all into one combination list, you've got an awful lot of data there about that person. Down the bottom there, you see stolen username and password pairs. To buy 1,000 of those packages, 97 cents. So you can see where the prices are quite cheap. If I wanted to, I don't know, Matthew, I'm going to pick on you because you're sat in front of a computer and you've already told me that you're running the New Forest Business Association, and you might have access to thousands and thousands of contact details of businesses. Well, if I pay for a hacker to try and hack Matthew's computer, because I can't do it myself, I will go onto the dark web. I'd hire a hacker for $250 to hack Matthew's computer. The hacker would probably compromise his computer and leave a virus on there, which then gives me access to his computer all the time it's turned on. If he turns it off, then I lose access, but when he turns it back on, I get access. I would use that, and then I could sell the details of Matthew's compromised computer on the dark web, and you can see there again, 13 cents. What's that value to other hackers or other people on the internet? Well, we know that his computer, he's got access to lots and lots of details of businesses. Well, that's potential victims to me, isn't it? If I got details of those businesses, then I could try and defraud them. So his computer is quite valuable. So put it into context. So we're looking at all of these compromised PCs, 13 cents. If we want to hire someone to do spear phishing against Matthew, well, then that's $100. So a little bit more expensive, but I need to know an awful lot about Matthew. I'd like to know when his birthday is so I can send him a birthday card on his birthday. I'd like to know what his hobbies are so I could probably catch him out at the local pub and do some social engineering conversations with him. So many different ways to catch people out. If you're not capable to do it yourself, you can hire someone to do it. So those are the prices you've got to look at there. Sadly, way too cheap. So if we talked about phishing emails, they're the big numbers there, aren't they? Just under 3.5 billion phishing emails are sent around the world, not the New Forest, but sent around the world daily. At least 100 million of those are blocked by technical filters. So that's when you set up your computers to block certain phishing emails. They remember it. If you block it on Microsoft, you block it on all Microsoft customers. So reporting stuff actually helps friends and family because it gets blocked on their computers as well. So realistically, 605 million emails still get opened around the world every day. Quite a few percentage of those are going to be containing malicious stuff. Whether it's they're trying to get you to encourage you to download some certain software or go to a certain dodgy website, or just you to populate it with some personal identifiable information. Those are normally the 3 types of tactics they use for phishing emails. Get you to open something dodgy, get you to go somewhere dodgy, and get some information off of you which you probably didn't want to give away. Those are basically the 3 types. So if we looked at just like a generic example of a phishing email, this is TV licensing phishing email. I'm sure quite a few of you have had this one. So at the top, if you look, you hover over it with your mouse, or if you're on a mobile phone, look at the address at the top. So you can push the address on a phone, or you can hover your mouse over it on a Windows laptop, and it will show you the real address behind it. So we saw there, didn't we, that it was TV licensing, and now it's insightbase.com. It should say the same. So when you hover over an email address, certainly on your own organizations, when you send an email, what you see on top, and then when you hover your mouse, is normally the same company website name. You can change it if you want to. It does look slightly dodgy if you change complete organizational names, but it stands out like a sore thumb when you come to phishing emails. If you look at this one, they want you here, don't they, to just click what's in blue there, set up your new direct debit. That's kind of what they go through. They want more money, financial details out of you. So on this particular one, it's destined for UK audience. So if you open this up in the UK, you'd go to the fake TV licensing website. If you open this up outside of the UK, you'd go to a boring YouTube video. And I know some people would love to press all these buttons and see where it takes you, but I will do that for you, and I will show you what happens in the background, so at least you know, and you don't have to go and press that red button. So, for instance, we've clicked that set up your new direct debit because we missed up the top. It's coming from a dodgy email address. So we click that. We've now landed on the fake TV licensing website. That's what it looks like. It doesn't matter which button you press. Every button takes you to the same further web page, which is the I want your details page. I want all these details because I'm going to use these probably just to get money out of you. Certainly there, mother's maiden name. There's a website. Who knows? Who knows the website you can go on to get everybody's mother's maiden name? You can all access it quite freely. Anyone have a guess? You'll kick yourself. Ancestry.com. So any of those family tree websites, which you can research family history on, it's very easy to get people's maiden names. Now, if your mother's maiden name is one of those, which is your security reset question, you might second think that now, thinking, is that an appropriate security reset question to have? Because quite easily, I can look up quite a few of your mother's maiden names and may pass that test and then get into your accounts. So consider that. If mother's maiden name is the only option that that particular organization's giving you for a security reset question, you might have to make one up and not use the real one because it's so researchable through what's called open source intelligence. So this fake website is all about trying to steal sensitive information out of you. So getting first name, last name, date of birth, address, phone number, email address. You could probably then go and buy stuff, couldn't you, with that much information? You probably pass a credit check. Different type is if you go onto a dodgy website. So this is this type. So we're on a dodgy website now. You can see the mouse moving around. It's now clicking on the obituary column. Just bear in mind, this is all recorded in real time. You can see the circles going round and round. Now, is that my slow internet connection? Is that the website's quite slow that I'm trying to visit? Am I tethered on my phone? Have I got poor mobile phone reception? You can see at the top it said Windows not responding. Down the bottom, it's got turn on Windows Security Center. So that would be alarm bells for me at that stage. Someone's turned off my Windows Security Center. So we've been on this website. We've clicked on it once or twice. 37. So we're at what, 36 seconds, 37 seconds now. That's the ransomware that's taken over. So everything on this computer is now encrypted. So if you're at home, that's like your precious family photos, your Excel spreadsheets, home finance. If you're at work, imagine it's like your client and customer data, pension data. It's whatever you say at work, isn't it? You can see there scrolling through all of the different things that traditionally you would have got access to. You would have seen pictures. You can't see anything. That's what it looks like when your computer's completely encrypted. So like I said earlier, the one screen that you would end up being able to see will be their instructions. You go into the office. I don't know, if you're an office that's got 5 computers in it, all 5 computers will probably display exactly the same if they were connected to the internet, or they were connected by your intranet, which is your internal internet in your office. Yes, those numbers there are big because that's for a big organization. I want £30 million now, or if you're going to wait 24 hours to make the decision, I'm going to pop it up to 60 million. Normally, the clock would basically say 24 hours and would count down, but we've sped things up in this world because we want to put you under pressure. So there's what, 8, 9 of us on the call. You're all small business owners. Let's make it more realistic. I've encrypted all of your companies now. I would like £1,000 out of all of you, and then I'll give you all of your data back. And you've got 15 minutes to make that decision. If you don't tell me within 15 minutes, I'm going to wipe your data for good. So at the moment now, the first things you'll be doing, have I got a backup somewhere? I need to find a golden backup quite quickly. 50% of you hopefully will have backup solutions, and you can just wipe your computers and start all over again. Those of you that do not have a backup solution, you now have none of your client or customer data. What are you going to do? Are you going to pay me as the criminal £1,000 to give you all your data back? Or are you going to try and get your business back together somehow? Because the phones are going to ring, the emails are going to come in, you've got to try and get access to all of your stuff again. It's a difficult time doing that. And you've got 13 minutes before I'm going to wipe it for good. So that's why I know failing to prepare is preparing to fail, isn't it? If you have instant response plans in place and you've got simple solutions like backups in place, you wouldn't be too worried if this happened to you. But if you don't have those things, you're always going to be on your back foot. So this is the sort of pressure small businesses are under. So when they say, why are you going to come after me? I'm just a little baker. Because I can shut down all of your business, encrypt all your data, turn off your social media channels, deface your website, take over your email accounts, and then lock you out. It's a tough gig to get that all back, whilst trying to deal with customers as well. And maybe staff, because staff will be worried. You've lost all my details. You're my boss. What's going on? Am I going to get paid next month? Those are the sort of questions you're going to get posed. So it is a difficult world. So I may be sort of painting a gloomy story at the moment. It's not all that bad. There's something called Cyber Essentials. You've got this logo on the right-hand side there, the blue and green logo. That is Cyber Essentials, is what the UK government are pushing to say this is what entry-level cybersecurity looks like. This is what good looks like. So you can configure your computers in a certain way. It stops. So those organizations out there that have got Cyber Essentials, the statistics are this year, there's 92% of those people who've got Cyber Essentials never make an insurance claim. When you achieve Cyber Essentials, whether it's the basic layer, which is Cyber Essentials, or the next layer up, which is Cyber Essentials Plus, and that's just an auditor having a look at all of your work to see whether you configured it correctly. So effectively, you can't mark your own homework. Cyber Essentials Plus, Cyber Essentials, achieving that gives you free cyber insurance anyway. As long as you're UK based, turnover less than £20 million, you get free cyber insurance with that accreditation. When you look at all of the things on the Cyber Essentials checklist, it's having your machines kept up to date. If a new update comes through from Windows or Apple, you get it installed within 14 days. Your passwords, they should be at least 12 characters long. Where you have the ability to have two-step verification or two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, it's all the same thing, but it's got a few different acronyms attached to it. Effectively, have that turned on where possible. Having your machines up to date. If you plug USB into it, they don't automatically play. And if you don't need USB turned on, you turned it off. So strangers walking into your office just can't plug stuff in. So effectively, those are basic level fundamental cybersecurity that you can get and put in place. The National Cybersecurity Centre, which is part of GCHQ in the UK, they talk about these 5 key things you can do that protects you from the majority of cybercrime, which is backing up your data, keeping all your devices, so computer, tablets, phones, like internet-enabled washing machines, all those different devices you've got in your house or office, keep them all up to date. Go for it, Phil.
Am I coming through on here, or am I on silent? You can hear me. And just to make a quick point, because we've seen this with clients of ours, with Max. When you turn on two-stage verification, that's fantastic. It really helps because a message is sent out to your phone to check whether or not you really wanted that. But too many of our clients are forgetting when they change their phone and they get a new phone number, they need to update that record with the companies that have it. Otherwise, what happens is two-stage sends out a message to your phone and you never receive it. So I just thought it's worth mentioning, keep your records up to date with each company that have your phone number if you change the phone.
Yeah, it's a good point, that. A very good point. Because if you give away your phone, i.e. sell the phone line or change the SIM card, then that is probably going to make life even more difficult for trying to get access to that account back. And they talk about phone number recycling. So if I ended my phone number today, probably about 6 months later, the phone companies might reissue that phone number to some brand new customer. And that's SIM card recycling because there's only a certain amount of phone numbers out there. And I've had a couple of people actually, they have raised that, Phil. It's a good point where they've got a new phone, they've gone to pay for some car parking, they've logged into the app, logged in by the phone number, and they've had a whole list of new cars come onto their account. And that was the previous person's account on that phone number, which they never changed over. So yes, be aware. So if you do buy corporate phone accounts and you do change them over quite frequently, an asset register or an audit trail of what you've registered that phone number to. Or if you're just unsure, drop the phone down to like a SIM only deal, pay as you go, and just keep it there. So it's still your phone line, you keep it, you don't give it up, and it doesn't cost you anything. But yeah, good point.
We haven't changed our phone number since last century. Literally last century.
For that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That good point.
Thank you.
So yeah, preventing malware damage. Everyone should pretty much business as normal now. You should all have anti-malware, antivirus, anti-spyware on your computers. So in the world of Windows, it's Windows Defender. Have that turned on. That's just as good as the paid for antivirus versions out there, as long as you keep it up to date. It gets its daily signatures from Microsoft. Yes, you can pay for certain antivirus products, but ultimately they will come with extra bells and whistles. But as long as you've got an antivirus solution, is making contact with the internet every day, getting the daily updates, actively scanning at least once a day, and doing a full deep scan once a week, it is going to cover you. And then passwords, using passwords to protect data, linking it to two-factor authentication, and keeping an eye on your data breaches as well. So there's a free service out there called Have I Been Pwned, which is spelled PWNED. You can get it to look after your company domain, so your company website name. And if any of your company emails are found within data breaches, you get an alert to that. So it's good that you get that alert, because if you then read the alert and it says you've been involved in a data breach and actually the password's been compromised, you change your password so you stay ahead of the curve. It's going to happen. You trust your data with so many different companies and they do have data breaches, your password will be compromised at some stage. So keeping an eye on it through using a free notification service, you change it when you get the notification. Because if I find out that Ticketmaster, for instance, has a big data breach, and I read the file where the data breach is now listed on the dark web, and it's all of us on this call, if 50% of us was registered with Have I Been Pwned and had the free data breach notification, they got the notification, they changed their password. The 50% that don't, I know your password and I can log in and kick you out. All you got to do is change your password, stay ahead of the game. Easy to do. So that's on the Cyber Resilience Centre website. You can download a free incident response plan. We've done the hard work for you already. There's some checklists, some aid memoirs in there. We've designed it, so we had to design it so it followed the health and safety font. I didn't even know there was a health and safety font. I have learned there's health and safety colors. So it's designed to replicate and mirror what you see for fire and medical stuff. You just have to bespoke it to your business, put the people, the point of contact, the IT teams, have all the command team or the senior leadership team in there so you know what to do. And I know that us humans, we operate a little bit better when we're following checklists. We don't run around panicking and screaming. We follow the checklist and it all seems a little bit more calmer. So that's there if you need it. Or we can do a little knowledge check. You want a knowledge check?
Computer security, what word can go before code, phrase and word?
Pass.
Correct. In what play by Shakespeare? It's happened. It's actually happened. It's actually happened. The word pass is an answer. You jammy so-and-so.
Right, that's 1 out of 1. Karen, you got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to go back to the previous slide and just double check what the website was, or maybe it's one before, what the website was for the cyber resilience piece. Because you are freaking me out like mad, so I'm trying to do things in the background. I've just deleted a whole load of files that I thought I shouldn't have. I've plugged in my backup and I'm backing up like mad because yeah, it's just really all making me think. And I've not heard of the cyber resilience
The
website.
last slide has got all the contact details on it.
Perfect. Okay. All right. I'll wait till then. Thank you.
No worries. Okay.
Computer security.
Right,
What
we're
more
not doing that again. Right then. Who's an NatWest customer then? They can answer this one. Any NatWest customers? Right. First hint, if anyone asks you who you bank with, don't tell them. You're giving the game away. We don't tell people who we bank with. But I know that's unfair. So have a look at that one. Is there anything wrong with that? Is that a genuine email from NatWest, or is that a phishing email? What do you reckon?
Phishing.
Go on, and what do you think?
There's spelling mistakes. It doesn't look professional. It looks as though the banner's been photocopied. There's a spelling mistake in the first line, and they wouldn't ask you to click to update your records. You'd have to go through a process.
So we've got there, haven't we, up the top, we have NatVest, and you can see the two V's pushed together to look like a W. Got that? So it's typo squatting. So if you hovered your mouse above that, you'd probably see that a little bit clearer in the background because you can always see an email address and behind the scenes of the email address. So yeah, that's a phish. That will take you to a massively different website that will probably try and take your money off of you. So those of you that are Microsoft 365 users, you will get the odd email from Microsoft telling you its security settings have changed. It does look like this. But is this real? Or is this a phish? What do we reckon?
Phishing.
I think it's a fish.
I think it's a phish. Any reasons why?
It's the what's it called? The email address isn't from Office, it's from scanpain@eastlink.ca.
Yeah. So if you worked for eastlink.ca, then this would not be unusual. So eastlink.ca, I'm assuming, is probably a company in Canada because it starts CA. Now, if it is generated from the company itself, this would be expected, but it should come from either your own domain or Microsoft.com because it's a security message. So this one's obviously encouraging you to go to that forms page. And again, it will probably ask you a load of questions and you'll be giving a load of sensitive information away. So that's the key there. So phishing email, we report it off to report@phishing.gov.uk. What happens next is the National Cybersecurity Centre would have a look at this email automatically. They would see that it's come from a dodgy sender. So first of all, they'd block that sender from sending any more. They would then have a look at that website that it's taken you to, and that's probably going to be another malicious website. They would basically do a takedown notice on that website. So say, for instance, Matthew was on the ball. He saw this email come in. He went, "You're not fooling me," forwarded it off to the phishing email. Christopher did exactly the same 5 minutes later. And then Natalie did it. 3 reports of a dodgy phishing email. They would block, send, and take the website down. I get in from a really busy day on the golf course, open up my emails at 6 o'clock tonight, and I think, oh my God, there's a problem with my computers. I click on the link. Because of the fine work that Matt, Chris, and Natalie done, the takedown's already done. I go to a dead website because they've already taken it down. So your actions have saved me from falling for it. So reporting stuff, and I know it's a game of cops and robs and cats and mouse because they'll probably start up eastlink1.ca tomorrow, won't they? But it's very disruptive. But your actions alone can actually help. What about this one then? So again, this is for those users of Microsoft. So we're all in Hampshire or Sussex logging into our company's email accounts. if, for instance, we then travelled to Russia on holiday or travelled for France, it takes us, what, 2 hours to get to France and probably 5.5 hours to get to Russia. If we logged in what's it, 10 to 5 now, 2 hours later we log in France, that's probably doable, isn't it, travelling? But if we logged in at 10 to 5 now in the New Forest and then logged in on our same company accounts at 5 to 5 in Russia, that triggers the impossible rule journey. You can't get there in the traveling time. So Microsoft would send you an unusual sign-in activity. So this is exactly what they look like. But what do you reckon about this one? Is this genuine or is it not so genuine? What do we reckon?
Difficult to say that one.
No, very top line. Microsoft is RN.
Ah, Matthew, you get the gold star today then. So we see at the top, account security, no reply at accountprotection.rnmicrosoft.com.
Yep.
Crafty.
I mean, I spotted a comma followed by a capital letter, new device, comma, if this wasn't you, which is where the grammar is wrong.
Yeah.
But anything like this looks suspicious nowadays.
Yeah.
Wouldn't reply to anything.
Some of it's genuine, some of it's not. But you've got to have your wits about you. But for the happy clickers out there, that's what we're trying to stop. If you're a more cautious person and you're checking everything, that's the way we want to be in it. So yes, this one is another fish. So teamwork, we all did this one. We had a look, and again, we report this off to phishing.gov.uk. So what you get on email, you can get on text message. You turn your phone on and you get this message from HSBC. So have we got any HSBC customers on the line? Nah, you're not falling for it this time, are you? So what do you reckon about this one?
I'd say it's a fraud looking at how HSBC is written.
Yeah, so when we look at website addresses, try and look at it from right to left rather than left to right. So when we go backwards from the .com, we know that that probably should say hsbc.com, but it says hsbcsecurepay.com. It's not going to be genuine HSBC. So, you know, when we can report emails off to report at phishing, you can actually forward text messages to 7726. Pre-service that Vodafone, O2, EE, they all operate this service. You can forward text messages to 7726. You get a quick reply back saying, thanks for forwarding this text message to us. What number did it come from? You then tell them 07780124450 and they thanks very much, we'll look into it. Exactly the same process takes place behind the scenes. They look at it, they go, yep, Security HSBC Secure Pay is a dodgy, malicious site. We'll do the takedown notice on that website, and we'll also block that phone number from sending any more text messages. So I come home from that busy day on the golf course again. You've all reported this text message. I fall for it, click the button, I go to a dead website because you've already reported it. So you can see how we all work and protect each other. It does work with voice calls as well. So if you do get someone phone you, you just text 7726 call, and then it replies saying what number just phoned you, and then you type in the number that phoned you with the dodgy phone call. So what about this one then? What do you reckon about this one? The government trying to give you some money back. Does that happen?
I redacted.
So yeah, they're high redacted because we wanted just to take out the name of the person it was sent to.
You reacted. You
Yes,
did that.
we redacted
I
it.
thought they did that.
No, that was
that
us.
would be silly.
Yeah. What do you reckon then?
I would
Also,
say this is
personnel-
phishing.
sorry. Yeah.
Go on, Em. What do you think?
It's a spelling mistake. The grammar's wrong.
Oh man, where's the spelling mistake?
Well, you are eligible for cost of living payment. You are eligible for a cost of living payment.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that.
Yeah.
The from
It's
email
not-
address ends in .lt.
Yeah,
or possibly
Lithuania.
IT for Italy.
Yeah.
Lithuania.
So you're right. LT or IT could be Lithuania, could be Italy. I think it is probably Lithuania, isn't it? we're still running the UK from Downing Street, not Lithuania. So that one is another fish. Again, report that off to the fishing and we'll get that one shut down. So go on then, with your knowledge so far then, out of those three, who do you reckon is probably the safest? So the police, yeah, we take cybersecurity quite seriously. But then you've got the small baker there in the middle that's probably reliant on a smartphone, running things like QuickBooks Zero, HubSpot, Salesforce, using the email system to take online orders, got an iPad there taking the sales, so it's probably using a merchant for PCI DSS compliance. Everything's on the clouds. Cloud's unlikely to go down, but it is a one-person band, isn't it? A micro trader business. And then you've got the school. Now they've got kids there and they're all over safeguarding, aren't they? So they're taking cybersecurity really seriously. But then the kids are coming to school with all their own iPads. They've got printer scanners, copiers, smart boards, Wi-Fi. Out of those three, then, who is the safest?
Say probably certainly the police and then the bakery. I'd probably put the school at the highest risk.
So it's a semi-trick question. The person who takes cybersecurity the most serious, the person that has it on their risk register. So, I mean, the police, you've probably seen them in the news in this year, at least 3 times that I'm aware of, where we've had cyber incidents. So it's the one that's actually taking cybersecurity a little bit more seriously. So yeah. So we do offer services. They are chargeable services, but they're completely and utterly funded and sponsored and subsidised by the Home Office. So we do training. So if you've got staff that you need training, there are free training sessions we can do, and there are some bespoke training sessions we can do. We can also do vulnerability assessments on all your IT setups. So you probably heard the term penetration testing. So that's where someone remotely looks at your IT and can work out where the weaknesses or the exploits are, or where the configurations are not quite set up safely. And we can do website assessments where you've built websites and they may not be completely set up safely. So those are some of the things that we can do. But the best thing to do is if you join our centre, and you can join us for free. Ultimately, that's the website there, which we spoke about earlier. If you go onto the website homepage, just click the blue button right at the top to receive or request your free information pack, and that will be sent through to you automatically. And then you'll get to take advantage of all the different benefits that exist that the government are giving away at the moment. Back to the big room, back to Matthew, or any questions?
So we've only got a minute or so to go, but what we will do is, of course, put the recording up and the details of that QR code, which I'm presuming is safe to click on.
So QR code's a bit of bone of contention at the moment. Now, in the right places and the right time, they're really good and convenient. But if you're stood on the side of the road and you're looking at a pan display machine, or you're at a bus timetable, or you're in a restaurant trying to do a QR code to look at the menu, I'd run my finger over it, see where there's a sticker being put over the top of it. But actually, I'd probably go for a reputable search engine, and I would avoid QR codes, and I would just find it the old-fashioned way. But if you're in a presentation like we are now, and you're just going to hold your phone up to it, convenience works there. They are good in the right circumstances.
Fantastic. So what I'll ask Chris to do is just to put that back up in just a moment, before we sign off at 5. But if you do have any questions and would like to put them direct to Chris, do send them to me. If they're private, on the other hand, just contact me and say you'd like to send him a message, and I'll pass that detail on to Chris and he can contact you. But the main thing is just sign up with the SECRC, because even if you don't go down the paid route, there is a lot of information available to you. And we've certainly promoted that as much as we can, and we'll continue to do so. But Chris, thank you as always. You just put it across so clearly. And I'm sure everyone has learned something useful, if not just to read very closely. Any final comments from anyone before we all get released?
And Matthew, will the slides go out, or will it be part of the recording that will be on there?
It'll be part of the recording, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll be up on our website in a day or so, when Rob will edit it and pop it up on our website for you to have a look at. If you're not sure where to find it, just ping me a message.
No, thank you.
And then you can obviously pause it and go through it at your own pace.
No, brilliant.
That's great.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank
Take care
you.
all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Great. Thanks a lot, Chris. Fantastic
Yeah.
as always.